Hey, this is Anthony Jones with Ducks Unlimited. Happy to join the podcast today. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about Ducks Unlimited. We're going to talk about how we're using social media and LinkedIn in particular as part of our marketing and fundraising efforts. But we're also going to talk about using LinkedIn to build your personal brand and how you can become more active on the profile. How you can become more active.
This is the Note Closer Show, where you get the latest developments in distressed note investing and learn the secrets of how you can control millions of dollars worth of property for pennies on the dollar. Get educated and entertained by someone who has closed thousands of deals and lives to support you in achieving the same. Now, here's your host, CEO of We Close Notes, Scott Carson.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closer Show. As always, Scott Carson, jacked up today to be with you today. I've got a very special guest that I think you're going to learn a lot of. This guy represents the world's leader in wetland and waterfowl conservation. And for the last 19 years, he's led the team responsible for the organization's website, social media, email marketing, online fundraising, and mobile application. He's also a highly recognized face on LinkedIn with over 36,000 connections on LinkedIn. So he's in that top 1% of 1%. But for the last 5 years, he's worked to build his brand through a unique content marketing strategy. And he now loves to share that across the board. So I'm talking about the head honcho, the head duck, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Anthony Jones, joining us from Mississippi this morning. What's going on, Anthony? How you doing this morning?
Scott, how you doing, man? I'm great. I got to correct you. I'm far from the head duck, but I appreciate the title. I'm kind of a middle duck here, but
well, my apologies. The head marketing duck is what I would say.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Exactly. Well, Anthony and I met actually, guys. I was actually here I guess it's hard to believe it's been 2 or 3 weeks, but there was a conference here in Austin I went to, same week as FinCon. It was the NEO Summit. It's a nonprofit innovation and optimization conference, which is basically, it's a marketing convention. And Anthony was up there sharing his secrets of how he's used LinkedIn and with his team at Ducks Unlimited to really do an amazing job of getting the word out and what they're doing. And I was like, we connected, and I was like, you guys, if you're listening to this, you know how valuable LinkedIn, you know how I'm a big advocate for. So it's like, we got to get this guy on. So we exchanged some messages, and honored to have him on here today. So Anthony, I think you shared an interesting story about how you kind of got started into this and how you were probably doubting yourself a little bit. You want to kind of share your origin story a little bit, I guess?
Yeah, sure. So, I first started on LinkedIn back in 2007, back when I created a profile. I uploaded a picture, a few sentences in the about section, and that was pretty much it. I connected with a few dozen people that I personally knew, and I never really thought of it unless I was looking to hire someone, for my team. And that's how I used LinkedIn until about 4 years ago. And it was actually around the time when Microsoft purchased LinkedIn. I came across an article that talked about how fast the network was growing and that a lot of people were starting to use it to build their personal brand. And that was really the first time I'd ever heard that term, personal brand before. So, that kind of piqued my curiosity. And I started coming back to the site maybe once or twice a week, but paying attention to the content. And every time that I did, I had the exact same reaction. Like, this is the most boring crap I've ever seen. Job postings that had no relevance to me, links to corporate press releases and bizarre sales pitches in my inbox. So I figured one way to kind of change that was to reach out to new people, to expand my network, new faces, new perspectives, new content. And over time, I started to get a better quality newsfeed. And I started to see a lot of people doing something that had never been done on LinkedIn, and they were showing their personality. They were using humor. They were being themselves. And that's when I kind of started to realize what building a personal brand was all about. This whole idea of people connecting with people, not people connecting with a lot of the corporate stuff that people, kind of just put out on LinkedIn by default. And I've kind of taken that approach over the last few years. I've tried to be authentic. I've tried to add some value in terms of, just sometimes daily humor, sometimes lessons that I've learned in my career. And it kind of started out as a hobby, But now it's kind of grown into some other opportunities, as you mentioned, speaking at NEO a few weeks ago. So that's kind of how I got started with LinkedIn.
Now, I imagine you had some fears. Initially, you shared some funny videos of the thoughts that go through people's head when they're starting marketing, marketing as a brand. And I think LinkedIn is one of the better brands out there, especially when you look at all the turmoil and negativity on some of the others, Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff there. LinkedIn, I think we've been lucky not to have a lot of that negativity. But besides what's going on here, you want to kind of walk through that mental approach?
Yeah, and you raised a really good point. If you think about all the turmoil that the social media networks have had, going back to last year's election, like LinkedIn is the only network that has stayed out of the fray. They've remained solid. They do what they do. It's not it doesn't have the confrontational aspect that so many other social networks have had. And it really, it represents a great opportunity for people. This is something that I talked about at the conference. There are 700 million LinkedIn users across the globe, but only 3 million are posting content on a regular basis. That's less than half of 1%. And I like to call this kind of the good old days of LinkedIn, because the platform is growing day by day, but it is not oversaturated with content like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where, on those channels, if you're not paying to run ads, your content is not going to be seen at any level of scale. But that's not the case on LinkedIn right now, because there are so few content creators in comparison to the whole universe out there. So I like to tell people, now is the golden time to have your content be seen and have your voice heard, and to build your brand.
Yeah, and I really believe everybody's got their own voice. We don't need a million Mark Zuckerbergs or a million Gary Vaynerchuks or a million Scott Carsons. We all need one more individual, but that individual to be you, to share what you're doing. Because I think that's people like brands, but I think they really build rapport with personalities, people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's the number one thing that I advise when I'm doing coaching sessions or giving presentations. The first thing that I tell people is, stop overthinking the content. Post content that allows your network to learn about you as a person. And if you just do nothing but that on a regular basis, over time, people are going to start to feel like they know you, they trust you. And then when you do start sharing, career related content or advice, they're going to listen to you because they feel like they have some level of credibility that you're not going to get if you just start sharing content left and right that really has no relevancy or doesn't speak to who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. You shared some ahas at NEO too about what you have found and some of the different things that you post. Besides posting personally, individual stuff, you've also shared not besides just being daily, like that huge stat, less than 1% of all LinkedIn users are doing stuff on a regular basis, let alone daily basis. But you also shared some other things that maybe surprise people, because LinkedIn is such a business oriented stuff, the personal stuff, but also I think posted on the weekends too does really well for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, it really does. I think I saw a stat recently, 60% of LinkedIn users are checking in on the weekends, but only 20% are posting. So like that right there, that's a huge opportunity. That's just a little small nugget, but look for times, look for opportunities when others aren't posting. That's a great opportunity for your content to be seen by even more people than it would otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Now, with you doing a lot of stuff personally, how has that kind of transitioned into what you're doing for Ducks Unlimited? How has that kind of gone from your house or your office to the boardroom or to everything in full effect there at Ducks Unlimited?
Right. So, for the last couple of years, I've done a lot of, just individual personal branding development and that sort of thing, really to learn the platform, to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And about 2 years ago, I had a meeting with my team, and we specifically talked about, okay, how can our team, not the organization, because I'm not the CEO, I'm just the digital marketing guy. But how can our team kind of start to leverage LinkedIn to, put a positive light on what we do, to showcase and highlight the great work that my team is doing. So we came up with a team hashtag. It's hashtag Ducks Unlimited Digital. And I encouraged my team to, post as often as they were comfortable. And, when they posted something about their job, about a project, or just something, fun behind the scenes that is taking place here at the office, to use that hashtag in their posts. And we've had a number of staff that have done that. Some people are going to be more apt to post than others, just naturally. But we've had a number of posts that have gone up over the last few years. Everything from marketing tips to lessons learned, to just a video of a dog of a lab running up and down the hall, because that's part of our organization's culture, and
Right.
I want to show that. And if you look at it from an organizational standpoint, I like to say that I want people to see the content that we post and want them to want to work for Ducks Unlimited because of what they see. I want them to want to work for my team because of the, what they're seeing our team post, showing our values, showing our culture. And it's something that we're still building. We actually are discussing broadening that out to the entire organization. I had a discussion with my boss about that recently, as a matter of fact. So on the organization scale, that's still to be determined, but that's kind of how I've taken it with my team, kind of as a pilot project to get that off the ground. And it really goes back to that whole idea. People connect with people a lot better than, what you're putting out on your corporate LinkedIn page. And those corporate pages are important. You need to be putting out content, but it's the individuals that people are more likely to engage with, leave comments on, than a press release or something like that your company's putting out.
Yeah, it definitely adds the heartbeat to an organization. And I like what you said there about you want people to see what's going on and want to come work with you or interact with you. What are some things, though, that may surprise you, that maybe some things you've done in the past that, I hate to say it, it may have been a dud instead of being something successful at Ducks Unlimited Digital?
I can't think of a dud with Ducks Unlimited Digital. I would say that, going back to what I referenced earlier, some staff are going to be more apt to do it because they're just, naturally social media savvy. They're out there. Others a little more private. And I think that's just something that you have to accept and, encourage your staff to be as active as they're comfortable. As I also mentioned at the summit, every organization needs a social media policy. It should have general guidelines, sort of guide rails as to what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, but it should not be so long that it stifles creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say, if it's longer than one page, it's probably too much.
Right.
And as I've also said before, one of the biggest barriers that people have to posting or being active on LinkedIn at all is they don't know what's appropriate. Mm-hmm. And kind of where I land on that is, the position that I've taken is I don't post anything that's divisive or polarizing. I stay away from politics, but more importantly, I don't post content that would be conflicting with the core values of my company. And that's kind of the bottom line. That's the common sense approach that I've taken and that I recommend others take as well.
It's a whole bartender method. Don't talk religion or politics most of the time and you'll be okay.
Right.
Good stuff there. Now, how important has video been with LinkedIn? I'm a big believer. I mean, I just got approved for LinkedIn Live, so I'm pretty excited about it in the last few weeks, but I really think LinkedIn dropped the ball with COVID of not being more open to releasing more of their LinkedIn Live features to more creators out there. I mean, the 10 minutes, okay, it's great for shorts, but a lot of people like podcasts are doing longer form content with videos and webinars and trains and stuff like that. I think LinkedIn really missed out on a lot of stuff. What's your take, and how much are you using video with what you're doing?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. LinkedIn was late to the game overall when it comes to video. They did not allow native video on the platform until like 2017, 2018. Yeah. And having said that, using video on the platform can be a game changer. It can be the fastest way to build your personal brand. It's the toughest, but it's the quickest way. And it's because it's literally you talking to your network, and it allows you to build a sense of trust and credibility with people much faster than any other media, text only or photo posts. So it's more authentic, it's more genuine. Obviously, a lot of people are skeptical or nervous just to even begin using LinkedIn video. But once you do, once you get enough practice out there, it becomes, obviously a lot more comfortable. It's something that I'm still, working to improve. I don't put out near as many videos as I would like. But to the point of LinkedIn Live, yes, you're exactly right. They've been slow getting that out. I applied for LinkedIn Live like 2 years ago, and they denied me 2 or 3 times. And now they're opening it up to pretty much everyone. And I have used it twice so far, and I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate that in. But a lot of people are using LinkedIn Live, and they're doing it really well. They're bringing in, other experts in the field, having conversations, or just kind of an ask me anything type of session, just on the fly. I've seen a lot of really good uses of it, and that's something that I hope to take advantage of more in the coming year.
Yeah.
Access.
I'm sorry, say that again. Now that you've got access, you're ready to rock and roll, right? Yeah. Same here, man. I'm like, oh, I've been waiting for this. Now let's figure out how to incorporate it in with everything.
Right.
Now, how much do you plan out some of your posting strategy? Maybe not just to LinkedIn, but other things with you and your team. Do you guys have a year-long marketing calendar or a quarter calendar? What's kind of your overall line game plan?
Yeah. So as far as the organization Ducks Unlimited goes, we do have a marketing plan. We do have a social media schedule that's extremely complex. We're on every channel. We're posting multiple times a day. We have, everything from conservation to fundraising to event promotion. So we're juggling a lot of different priorities, a lot of different messages at one time, and the team does a fantastic job of managing that. From a personal LinkedIn standpoint, I will tell you that I don't have a schedule that I keep to. I don't have a written schedule or a calendar. I think it's great for a lot of people who are like better organized than I am, or organization is not one of my strong suits. Most of the content that I put out is kind of the day of, on the fly, whatever I'm thinking of that day. Now I may shoot a video and work on it for a week and, understand it'll be a week or two before I put it out there. But a lot of the content that I make is just whatever's, in my mind that day. And there are also plenty of days where I have good intentions of posting, but it's like I'm looking at this blank wall. Like there's zero creativity, zero ideas. And that happens to everyone. So what I like to do is I keep just a running list of post ideas on my desktop. I've got a folder on my phone where I've got LinkedIn ideas, where if I see something while I'm driving to work, I may snap a picture, drop it in that folder. I may not know what the post is going to be at the time, but I may flush that out later into a post. So just keeping a running list of ideas so that you're on the lookout for content on those days where you're looking at that blank wall with no creativity that day.
Yeah, the coffee hasn't kicked into the creative folder yet for the day. I think everybody goes through that, and I think so many people that aren't embracing or aren't marketing, they think that that's like the kiss of death. They think of that initially. And I like what you just said. You post or you come up with ideas as your surroundings. For me, it's the movies, for me, it's a little bit of pop culture to bring in a little bit of everything, but it's also, hey, when I see a great sign or a great show or something else, I could use that. Like the James Bond thing. We've got a whole new thing coming out. No time, instead of no time to die, no time to invest, kind of the fun stuff that goes along with it. That individuality that you share helps you stand out so much versus, like you just said, that kind of robot auto post, same in, same out, vanilla kind of post.
Right.
What's one post that you shared that you were just surprised the heck out of, that just kind of, I won't say maybe went viral, but you got so many responses or feedback from people that you just kind of, had to chuckle about it?
Let's see. There's been quite a few. I'm trying to think of one in particular. I'll tell you the most popular post that I've ever made. It was a little bit of humor that basically said, and I don't have it in front of me, but basically said, if you connect with me and send me a cold sales pitch immediately afterwards, there's a 200% chance I'm never going to respond to you. So slow your roll there. And then I followed that with like a bunch of hashtags, and that reached like 158,000 people, had thousands of likes and comments. And what I realized about that was it was relatable.
Yeah.
Like everyone can relate. Everyone hates the cold sales pitch. And I have actually reposted that 3 or 4 times. And every time it has phenomenal reach, phenomenal engagement. And that's actually a tip that I like to share with people is if you've got a post that did well, bring it back 4 or 5 months later, because 1, a lot of people aren't going to remember it.
Yeah.
2, if they do remember it and they engage with it, they'll probably engage again. And 3, you've probably added a lot of new connections or followers since then. So it's brand new to them. So, putting out content like that, that's relatable, that's human, that's what's going to get the most engagement, time in and time out.
Yeah, no, that's a really great one, being able to recycle it, if it's because we all add new connections. Are there any tools that you've used like Sales Navigator or LeadFuse or Octopus CRM to help you grow your connections on LinkedIn?
So I'll give you a couple of tools that I really use and recommend. So Shield Analytics. So LinkedIn is great in that it gives you some analytics. It gives you like the total reach and that sort of thing, but they don't have a really comprehensive dashboard. There's a company called Shield App. It's shieldapp.ai. It's actually a web service, not a mobile app, that you can subscribe to. And it's got all of your posts going back to the beginning of time, all the metrics. You can easily find a post doing a search. And it's probably the most important tool that I've used. And it really, if you are a data geek like I am, you can look at the metrics, what post had the most engagement, had the most views, what was it about that post that caused it to do well, what time of day, what day of the week. So just a lot of, insights you can glean from that. The other app that I use for videos, and highly recommend, there's 2. One is just called InShot, and it's a free video editing app. It's really intuitive, easy to use, great for people like me. And the third one, and this is also related to videos, is called the Teleprompter for Video app. And I actually showed this one at the conference. It's a lifesaver because you can load your script directly into it, or if you just want, talking points, and it even scrolls the text right near the top of the camera lens. So you never lose eye contact with your audience. It looks and feels really natural. When I first started out, I would completely forget, I'd be halfway through my mental script and I'd go blank and I have to start again, or I'd have to tape a piece of paper next to the camera with some bullet points. And yeah, so the Teleprompter app has been a game changer for me. So those are the 3 tools and apps that are the most useful for me.
No, I love the Teleprompter app. I've already probably told 20 people about it and they're using it as well. You need to get you an affiliate code or something for it. Now, when you also, what I found interesting during your presentation, you also challenged people to kind of a posting challenge. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and this is something that I've done just kind of on my own as standalone posts. But anytime I give a webinar or I give a talk like this, I try to, 1, inspire people and give them some tactical, ideas they can use to start posting. But a lot of times people leave those and they don't know what to do next. So I try to give this challenge of, okay, when this is over, think about what you've just learned here and make a post and just tell us 3 things about you. It could be anything. It could be about your day, about your job, about your family, just 1, 2, 3. And then at the end of that, ask your connections to share something about themselves in the comment. And when they do that, what that does is it kind of allows them to introduce themselves to their network or reintroduce themselves. And by asking the question, tell me something about yourself, a lot of people it's an easy cue. Okay, I can tell them about my dog or something my kid did. They'll put a lot of comments in there. And when you comment on someone's post or you get comments on your posts, that is like the best fuel to increase engagement, to increase the visibility, the overall reach and visibility, because LinkedIn's algorithm sees that, okay, people are not only liking this, but they're commenting and commenting and commenting. There's something good happening here. So they're going to show that to more people organically. And I kind of like to use that as a challenge because it's easy to do, doesn't take a whole lot of thought behind it, and it's a great way to kind of kick off. So that's something I recommend anyone do, whether they are just getting started or even if you've been in, been posting on a regular basis, just doing that 1, 2, 3 things about me, it helps, again, make you relatable, human, and people connect with that.
No, I love that because it's simple. It's easy to talk about yourself a little bit because people, I think sometimes I have to be an expert or talk about something like, no, we're all an expert on ourselves,
Right, exactly.
These simple things make it pretty easy. It's a great icebreaker, instead of the whole, and then also the commenting. How active are you in the commenting aspect, and how are you using that? I'm obviously using that to connect with new people or expand your audience as well too, right?
Yeah, and that's something that I tell people, if you want to get some visibility on LinkedIn or want to start building your brand, but you're not comfortable creating new content yet, and that's the case for most people, you can get started by simply, make it a goal every day, spend 10 or 15 minutes, go in and just leave comments on other people's posts. And what that's going to do is it's going to show that you're contributing to the larger conversation. It's going to get your name out there to people that, are seeing you for the first time. And as you do that, LinkedIn is giving you credibility kind of on the back end. And you will also start to get new ideas for content as you start posting or as you start commenting on other people's posts. And that's one of the most important things you can do. I set aside 10 to 15 minutes every day just to do that. And if you don't see the content that you, I guess, would want to engage with, you can just use the LinkedIn search feature, type in something about your career, whether it's investing or fundraising. When you do that, you're going to see a list of posts that were made, today. Go in, find something that you can relate to, that you can leave a meaningful comment on, not just great post with a thumbs up, but actually a sentence or two that gives your perspective on it. That's what's going to give you credibility and will do, amazing things for your personal brand.
Yeah, leaving a thought, I think is what most people think. They like the like thing or, hey, great post. Leaving a thought, whether you're commenting on somebody else's or you're sharing an article over to LinkedIn, share a little bit what's going on between the 6 inches between the ears. It will add a lot of value to the platform, right?
Absolutely.
There anybody that you're following that you really love to follow on LinkedIn on a daily basis, or somebody that you're like, oh, I like their content, their information?
There are so many. If I had a list prepared, I could share them with you, but there's a lot. I wish I could think of just 1 or 2 offhand that are, at the top of the list. But yeah, there's some good ones out there. Tell you what, I could send you a couple of links. Maybe you could drop it in the show notes.
Yeah.
That would be easy to do. I can give you 5 or 10 really, really popular folks that are putting out amazing content.
Yeah, we'll be glad to do that in the description for sure. That'd be great.
Yeah.
There. Now, with what you guys are doing with Ducks Unlimited and spreading the word in conservation and hunting and other things like that out there, your message really weaves through all this stuff on a regular basis from going back and looking at stuff there. Have you seen any controversy? Have you seen any, I hate to say, trolls jumping on there to kind of against you or share anything negative by any chance?
So are you talking about on LinkedIn specifically?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, LinkedIn.
There's always trolls, and you're never going to get away from them. But typically, if a troll shows up in a comment, I typically leave it alone, or I'll laugh at it and let the network come in and defend me or defend that position instead of me trying to get into a personal battle. That's a no-win situation most of the time. But that doesn't happen very often. Fortunately, with our mission, what we do, and especially the content that we put out on our company page on LinkedIn, it's very mission centric. It's very donor focused, and there's not a lot of controversy to be had in a lot of that content.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, let the audience, let your followers and your LinkedIn family defend you. You can't win an argument with an idiot, is what I always like to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the biggest surprise that's happened in the last 4 years with you and your LinkedIn strategy? Anything popped up, speaking opportunity or connection or conversation that just kind of was an aha moment? Like, wow, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. It's the lessons that I've learned. It's the people that I've met. The CEO of Next After their executive team. I met them a few years ago at NEO conference, and he actually came up and found me in the crowd. He said, "I've been following you on LinkedIn for the last year. I wanted to meet you. We've gotten to be friends." And he invited me to speak at Next Afters or the NEO Summit. That's led to a couple of other speaking engagements. It's like I mentioned in the presentation a few weeks ago. You don't know what opportunities are going to come up once you start building your personal brand.
Right.
It could lead to, promotions. It could lead to new career opportunities, speaking engagements, partnerships, podcast interviews like we're doing now, or even a side business that I've kind of started doing some LinkedIn consulting on my own. So there's so many benefits. I like to tell people you don't know what they're going to be until you get started, but you got to take that step. And the worst time to start building your personal brand or where you want to build a network is when you need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to start doing that before you need it. So in times of a global pandemic or whatever it may be, economic, crash or something, if you have built up a network, if you have built up a personal brand, if something happens to your job or your company or whatever, it gives you opportunities because you've built a foundation, you've got a strong network out there, and it can be invaluable in times of distress.
Yeah, that's the thing. Worst time. Yeah, you hit the nail right in the head there, Anthony. The worst time is when you need it. Start investing in place. Start socking. It's like investing in your future. Start socking away that branding, that momentum, and that way it can easily be pivoted if you need to. Job loss, change, economic meltdown.
Yeah.
What's a big pet peeve you see people, or a big mistake you see people doing on LinkedIn besides the cold pitches on an introduction?
Yeah, those are absolutely the worst. So a couple of pet peeves. One is when you do post something that's showing your personality, something that's fun or whatever, and my favorite trolls are the ones that say this belongs on Facebook, right? This isn't Facebook, and usually someone will come to your defense and say, look, get a life, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you can unfollow me or block me or whatever you want to do. So that's one pet peeve. Those people just don't understand how LinkedIn is used today.
Right.
They're thinking of it as the LinkedIn of 10 years ago, and the platform has just evolved beyond that now. That's probably my biggest. The other one is when people just blindly reshare stuff, whether it's a motivational quote or whatever, with no context. That content really isn't being seen. It's not that valuable. What's valuable is your original thoughts, your perspective, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. The blind sharing or the daily motivational quote without any comments, it's set up through Hootsuite, a buffer just to automatically share. It doesn't really add a lot of value. It's just being passed over on a regular basis there for you. With Facebook, I won't say going down, but with them really shuttering. Yeah, exactly. And then with the the whistleblower coming out talking about the negativity of their platform and hiding things. Have you talked with your team about how important it is to make sure that you're owning your content, or that you're cross promoting much more efficiently or effectively in a lot of cases to avoid things like that happening in case things go down?
Yeah, we have had some conversations, and we are fortunate in that over the years we've worked to build a really strong following across all the social network platforms. Certain platforms like Facebook, personally, it's not my favorite, but we generate more revenue from membership and so forth because of the paid ads and because of how phenomenal that advertising is. The most effective advertising platform in the world. Whether you love it or hate it, it's effective. But we also recognize that usage on that platform is going down a bit. It may go down even further based on whatever comes out of all this taking place in the media right now. But having diversity in your social networks, but also not putting all your eggs in the social media basket. We've got a very comprehensive mailing list, email list. If Facebook went away today for whatever reason, we still have plenty of channels, both digitally and offline, to generate revenue for the organization. So, not putting all your eggs in one basket, common sense there.
Well, you would hope it's common sense, but common sense is not always common these days.
Very true.
I have friends that's been their whole platform, and when it went down, they're literally panicking and having a meltdown because their marketing is at a standstill for a lot of things, or people launching events, and then that aspect of it is not there for a period of time, stuff like that. So it's good to be stretched out and spread out, because there's so many people like, oh yeah, I need to be on LinkedIn more. It's one of the things like, I'm on Facebook, but I need to spend more time on LinkedIn. I'm like, you don't wait. If there was ever a shot across the bow to do something, it happened Monday. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Now, question for you. You have kids, Anthony?
I do. We have 2 boys, 14 and 9.
14 and 9. Now, how much are you monitoring or talking with them, or limiting some of their social media activity or actions on there? Is that does that kind of concern you in a little bit sometimes with what's going on?
It is. It's something we try to keep a close eye on. Especially, my 14-year-old, he's kind of getting at that age where, he's going to have some social interaction online and so forth. 9-year-old, not so much, although he does have a YouTube channel that only we can subscribe to. But he likes to put some videos out there, and, that's fine. But, we lock that down pretty tight.
Sure.
But it's an issue that all parents face. Everyone has to address it, differently with their kids based on so many different variables, but it's very real. It can be very dangerous, as we all know, for a lot of different reasons. When I was growing up, that was one issue that my parents didn't have to worry about. But that's just the way of the world right now.
Yeah, our wall was literally running into a wall. Playing recess outside, playing soccer, going hunting in the yard, playing basketball or football. It's a whole different social media aspect than it ever was when we were growing up. That's the truth.
Absolutely. And I'm an avid hunter, duck hunter, deer hunter. I've taken my kids since they were old enough to go with me. Both of them enjoy going, my youngest in particular. But it's hunting season's right around the corner, so I'm really stoked. Anything I can do to get them outdoors and away from the devices, away from the all the digital stuff is a great thing. I enjoy it, they enjoy it, and hope more people do that this winter.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental health break and mental health, wellness. I say getting outside and doing some things, even if it's 5-10 minutes a day. Sometimes my favorite moment of the day is just walking outside and around my plants. I'm in Austin. We're not hunting deer or ducks here in Austin, but it's just getting outside and unwinding, taking away the break and going from there. So that's beautiful stuff there for you. What's the best way, and I already know the answer to this, but I ask the best way for people to connect with you, through LinkedIn or any other way, Anthony?
Yeah, just look me up on LinkedIn. Also have a new course that I'll be launching soon. It's a buildyourbrandonlinkedin.com.
Okay, we got to talk about that. You held that to the left. Talk about that. Let's share a little bit about that. Buildyourbrandonlinkedin.com. Is that what you said the URL was?
Yes. So working on a course right now. We'll be launching within the next probably month or so. But if you go to that URL, there will be some pre-sale opportunities with a discount. But basically, it's a kind of unpacking everything that I've learned over the last couple of years, putting that into a course that will be affordable, that people, regardless of your career or your industry, it will give you the kind of the building blocks and the tactical things you can do to start building your brand. So looking forward to getting that out there for sure.
What's the URL one more time for everybody?
Buildyourbrandonlinkedin.com.
Pretty self-explanatory. I love it.
Yes.
Good stuff. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on the Note Closer Show and sharing this valuable information and tips and tools and how you've built an amazing brand, amazing following on LinkedIn. It's very applicable to what you talked about, can be applied to whether it's a nonprofit, a for-profit, a business, a personality. It's just a matter of kind of showing up and doing it every day regularly, huh?
Absolutely.
Good stuff, that man. All right, guys and gals. Well, take Anthony's advice. Check out the URL. Check out his class. This guy, he's very unassuming, but he shared so many good things at LinkedIn. This guy knows his marketing, knows his LinkedIn, and you can learn a lot from a duck. I'll tell you that right now, everybody. So go out, take some action, everybody. Connect with Anthony, and we look forward to seeing you all the time, everybody.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Thank you.